I hear a lot of people talk about bronies from both outside and inside the fandom. I guess it comes naturally with being a part of the community, but often I see the title getting thrown around accusatorily, adopted, denied, or generally tossed about willy-nilly, and it makes me wonder what really defines a brony, or if there even is really a definition of brony since there's such a wide variety of opinions on the matter. Now that's what I hope to get to the bottom of in this video. Now from what I understand, a brony can be any number of things. In its most commonly accepted form, brony is a male between the ages of 16 and 30 that watches the show My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Easy, right? Now the research that I have done comes up with two origins on the name. The first being a combination of bro and pony, the second originating from 4chan's /B board, where the brony community got its start. This would be a combination of /B and pony. And while I do not doubt the legitimacy of the latter, I am more subscribed to the former theory, mostly due to the fact that there is no letter R in /B or pony. Now, if I remember correctly, when Lauren Faust was approached about creating the show, she wanted to appeal to the intended demographic but make a cartoon that anyone could enjoy for the purpose of parents watching and enjoying with their children. Now, the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic fandom has roots in its original demographic of girls between the ages of 5 to 10, as well as men and women between the ages of 16 and 40 or higher. But there always seems to be a lot of attention on just the guys. This is probably because of how unexpected the phenomenon was, but we'll get into that in detail in another time. Meanwhile, what of the ladies? Well, women who watch the show are sometimes referred to as pegasisters. However, in conversation I've heard a few of them prefer the term brony, and heck, even in the first broadcast of Everfree Radio's Pegasisters live show, one of the hostesses stated that she preferred to be called a brony. Now, while there's certainly nothing wrong with that on the surface, the name itself seems to instantly imply male. This is most likely due to the fact that most of bronies are male, and the unmistakable prefix of bro in the very title itself really doesn't help much. That being said, a need to identify the female bronies would come naturally, and unfortunately the term female brony just doesn't seem to roll off the tongue the same way. BagLady74, or Gandalf the Blue, is a relatively popular YouTube channel known best for his non-brony commentary series. In a question and answer video, he states that he enjoys the show but only thinks of himself as a casual viewer and not a brony. This was demonstrated in another video where he tries to read a fanfiction on DeviantArt but finds it too long and wonders how people have the time to write or read them in the first place. So I understand that there are people who watch the show and enjoy it but don't believe themselves to be bronies. If anyone under this umbrella of descriptions is listening, believe me, that's great. You don't have to fall under the brony umbrella if you don't believe you fit there, and you have plenty of valid reasons. An example of this might be a friend of mine who watches the show, enjoys it, and even occasionally buys merchandise. Sounds like a brony, right? But he doesn't want to be called a brony. His reasoning is that he doesn't want to risk sharing the title with a certain few people who went to a convention and made advances on the Cutie Mark Crusader voice actresses, and were then promptly arrested, thank God. He also works at a Toys R Us and encounters a lot of pony fags and other overly obsessed weirdos of questionable character. All that being said, I can completely understand why he'd be apprehensive about being called a brony. Now, keeping that in mind, I've had casual watchers get mad at me for referring to them as bronies in the past. Now please understand that someone on the outside might refer to you as a brony for two main reasons. Partly because without knowing you intimately, they have no way of knowing how you feel about the title of brony, and if you do or do not associate yourself with that title or for whatever reasons. The other part being that it's just simply easier for people to identify you that way. It's the same way someone might refer to a female brony as a pegasister, regardless if she refers to herself as such. Now, if someone makes this mistake with you, please take one of two options. Option A, brush it off as a meaningless title given by someone on the outside who doesn't intimately know your inner workings, or B, kindly say, I'm not a brony, I just enjoy the show. And if the person you're talking to still can't register that, they still think casual watcher means brony, it's still really not a big deal, just go back to option A and brush it off. Further separating bronies from casual viewers is the point of bronies being content creators. The general sentiment is that the distinction between a casual viewer and a brony is their involvement with the show and the artwork that they produce with the show as inspiration. Though I could not excavate where else I had seen it, I do however believe Saberspark had addressed this at least once. I can say that I have had this point brought up to me during personal conversations with people that did not watch the show but had seen bronies and knew what they were. Now with all of that being said, we come back to our original question. What is a brony? Is it anyone who watches the show the same way that we might refer to anyone who watches Star Trek as a Trekkie? Is it anyone outside of the originally intended demographic? Or is it narrowed down even further to the most unexpected demographic of males between the ages of 18 and 25 or whatever that may be? Or are the true bronies an even smaller group that's been narrowed down even further to content and product creators and people who avidly follow the show? Do casual viewers count as bronies? Is the title of brony a title adopted by the person, or is it given by society for merely watching the show? Personally, I believe a brony can be qualified as anyone who watches and enjoys the show who is outside the originally intended demographic of young girls. However, Ms. Faust's intentions to make the show enjoyable for everyone begs the question of what the originally intended demographic really was. Now on that matter, I would relish the opportunity to sit down with Ms. Faust or a Hasbro executive and learn the details of how these decisions were made. That is, of course, if there's no more than what the fandom already knows in the first place. Ultimately, I'm certain that the title of brony is an odd combination of adopted and given depending on the person. Now, since it was my original understanding that a brony was someone outside the intended demographic who enjoys the show, I've been calling myself a brony since I started watching it regularly. But all that being said, whatever you may call yourself, or what someone else may call you, by all means, go forth and enjoy yourselves, my fellow bronies, pegasisters, casual viewers, content creators, hardcore followers, and human beings alike. If you have a topic on bronies, ponies, news, or anything in general that you would like to hear discussed, or if you have an episode, fanfiction, product, or anything else you would like to hear reviewed, send me a YouTube message or leave a comment below. You can also drop comments, questions, topic suggestions, and review suggestions by liking Brony Debates on Facebook, following on Twitter, or sending an email to bronydebates@yahoo.com. Have a great day, and I look forward to speaking with all of you soon.